Welcome to Karkom Cards and Comics. We're back. We are still alive.
Are we?
I'm feeling alive.
It's not a dream sequence?
It could be, but I don't think so. It feels pretty real.
It's definitely been a long break.
It has been. Only about 3-4 times longer than I thought it was going to be. But
we've been busy.
A lot going on.
Definitely.
But today, we're here with two new characters that have not been in Season 1 of Duel, here to fight it out. Well, mine wasn't in the first season, but we're here to fight it out, see who's going to take the gold again.
Yeah, so what was our criteria for this fight?
This fight, all we needed was a household name. Something that, if I called my mom would know who the character is that we're referring to. So at least maybe it can bring in some people that don't really know much about comics, but they'll know enough at least to be intrigued by hearing X fight Y, you know?
Okay.
So that was kind of my idea for starting off this season with this.
Sounds like a party to me.
All right. Well, let's start it off with your prediction. Who do you think I would bring to the table in an instance like this?
So, I think I have it narrowed down to... I'm just going to go with Marvel character. And the first thing that came to my mind when I was trying to guess your prediction was I just went for an easy one and thought Spider-Man.
Spider-Man?
Yeah.
It is Spider-Man, yes.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
I did. I brought Spider-Man because I feel like there's aspects to his powers that people don't really think of, and I think by bringing more insight to it, you'll feel like he's underappreciated, or even he's put on a pedestal, but like he's still underrated because of how his morals will hold him back. So
okay.
So yeah. So yes, I did. I picked Spider-Man. You knocked it out of the park.
All right, I won. Good job, guys. We'll see you in the next one.
Yeah. Well, you still gotta fight him.
Oh, I forgot about that part of this.
Yeah. So, obviously, when you're forced to pick somebody that is a huge household name, there's not too many options out there that you can just say, "Ma, have you heard of this guy?" So I really thought that it might be Batman this time. I thought you would bring Batman, and then I saw the Justice League t-shirt and was like, you know what? I think he's pulling that ploy. Because I don't think Flash is popular enough to be something my mom remembers. But they did have that 90s TV show.
I would absolutely think that Flash is a household name, especially now with the TV series and all that stuff. But that's not who I went with. I did not go with Flash.
Okay. What?
Or Batman.
Okay. All right. Well, then I don't know. Maybe another red and blue. Okay. Well, we'll just get into it. Go ahead.
So I went with someone that, as far as in the comic verse goes, he's been all over the map as far as what comics he's been part of, things of that nature. If I'm not mistaken, they're an IDW property right now. That's who does their comics.
It's Egon Spengler of the Ghostbusters.
Yeah, no. He would win. He'd hands down crush Spider-Man. But I went with this feller. If we can see him. There we go.
Oh.
I chose Skeletor.
Okay.
Because I feel like that has been a name since the 70s or 80s. So, and with the new resurgence from the new Netflix series that's out, everyone knows Skeletor.
Okay.
I didn't want to go too powerful with He-Man, but I went with his nemesis.
Interesting fight. All right, so you wanted to give rundown of Skeletor's powers first, or you want me to start with Peter?
Go ahead with Spider-Man, because I have to find where I wrote... Oh, I found it.
Okay, so I mean, everybody knows the main powers of Spider-Man, like being able to have the proportionate strength of a spider, the ability to wall crawl, the webs, that he designs himself, not like Tobey Maguire self-generated hot webs. But there's something that Peter Parker has only done once, but the spider clones do this, and it just, the more I think about it, the more scary it really is. But there was a spider clone in the 90s called Kane, and he would do this thing called the Mark of Kane, where like he would mark you by using the wall crawling ability on your face to rip off flesh from your face. Because Spider-Man can stick to the walls with such pressure. Like, Colossus one time tried to pull Spider-Man off the wall and just pulled the whole wall down.
Kind of like Juggernaut trying to lift the Blob.
Yeah, like...
So instead of lifting up the Blob, he just tore out the tectonic plates from the earth.
Yeah. So, he uses that to just pull flesh right from the face of people, which is insanely terrifying.
Not when your character doesn't have flesh.
We're not in the fight yet.
Oh, my bad. I was getting ahead of myself. The Mark of Cain is absolutely terrifying.
But Peter Parker's done it once, where he felt like he was backed into a corner where Green Goblin was like, had him in some sort of headlock, and he was like starting to go like black out, So he used it with one finger to pull off part of his flesh, and he felt bad about it. He really did. He's just like, it was so against his character to do it, but
I think that's why that small line from No Way Home is so important, because when he says, I stopped pulling my punches, people don't realize that Spider-Man doesn't use full power 99% of the time when he's fighting anyone, because he can't. He'll kill him.
Right. Yeah, and that's true too. Like, and I said that with Spider-Man 2 when he was like punching Doc Ock. I'm like, why did they show the tentacles being able to be control or like move him around while he's unconscious, and then have Spider-Man hit him in the face and not go unconscious? Like, right. That fight could have still continued and he could have woke back up, but like I don't get it. And people would argue like, well, he's losing his powers. But 5 minutes after he punches this guy in the face, he stops a train. So,
yeah,
like, I don't know. That always bugged me about Spider-Man 2. Sorry. Spider-Man has incredible healing factor that's never really spoken about, and I guess on multiple occasions, Peter Parker has even said to other heroes that he does not have a healing factor. But during a fight with a villain called the Masked Marauder, he was rendered completely blind. He had acid thrown into his eyes. And after about 2 hours, his sight was perfect again. So, like, I don't know how you can have something like that happen and just be like, yeah, it's not really healing factor. Like, yeah, it's not to Wolverine's.
Right.
Because, I mean, it was 2 hours, but after a broken arm, it heals overnight. He had third-degree burns from Electro that healed in a little over 2 days. So he definitely has accelerated healing, and
so those are like those powers that certain heroes have that depend on who's writing the story, how it fits the story.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of like characters like that where you hear nothing about certain powers ever, then all of a sudden it's like their main thing, and then all of a sudden like you never hear about it for a while.
Well, in the 90s, it was like Spider-Man's thing where like he'd be standing, but only 50% of his costume would be there. He'd be like so messed up, like you could tell he's been through hell, and still he would never back down.
Right.
So like I feel like people don't give him that much credit for how much abuse he'll take, because he doesn't, his nerves aren't deadened or anything, he feels it.
Well, it's like the famous Spider-Man line, I can do this all day.
Yes. Oh man, I remember the first time Peter Parker said that and that movie. Oh, it was great. I'm not gonna talk about like the additional powers he's had, like where he gained power cosmic and all that. Like we don't need none of that for some skeleton boy.
I mean, if you went with Cosmic Spider-Man, you would definitely want to talk about that.
Yeah, or like the Spider Hulk. You know, like
yeah. If you went with those iterations, they'd be relevant. But you just went with the everyday Spider-Man we all know and love.
Yes. Not red and blue suit, not black suit, not the spider armor.
I love the spider armor.
Oh yeah, you need to take this home.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
That's been in my slab box for a long time.
I'm pretty sure this was in a video a while back, but it's always good to look at it again.
Yes, if you have a copy of Web of Spider-Man 100, he wants it.
All of them.
But, yeah, so we're not using that Spider-Man, not using any of the Prodigy or the Ricochet or none of that, just regular old, plain old Peter Parker.
Okay.
All right, and what's Skeletor got?
So Skeletor, I mean, as far as, like, your base, like, superhuman strength and all that stuff, he's almost on par with He-Man. Not quite as strong, not quite as fast, but he's up there. But where he lacks in those other aspects, he makes up for in magical power. He's an extremely powerful sorcerer. He can teleport. He can use telepathic communication. He can hypnotize you. He's a master at casting illusions. He can reflect magic. He has freezing rays. He can open gateways between dimensions. He can grow plants like instantly. I don't know why that's going to be a thing, but hey, he has that power.
He can do it.
So I mean, and not to like knock off like his like hand-to-hand combat skills, because he is a highly skilled swordsman. Although most of the time when you see him, he has his Havoc staff. He doesn't have a sword. But every once in a while, he is known to wield a sword. From the Havoc Staff, he can discharge bolts of Mystic Force. He can steal dreams. He can manipulate your dreams.
Okay.
So he's like...
you think you're going to put Spider-Man to sleep?
He's like a Haunter or a Gengar. Dream Eater.
Okay. Muna.
He does have an animal companion, just like He-Man, Panther. Although he's rarely seen, like in the comics and stuff, just every once in a while he pops in and then just disappears again. So I think if it comes down to a fight, it's gonna be a tough one because they're both very durable. You know, he's like I said, Skeletor is great at hand-to-hand combat, so he can, with the power of He-Man being the strongest person in the universe, and Skeletor able to take a hit from him, no problem. Pretty sure I can go blow to blow with Spider-Man.
For how long? But wait, pause right there. Put in the comments who you think would actually win this. Before we get into it, put it in there. And then see if we sway your decision at all.
Yeah, Steve.
Yeah. This is for you, buddy.
We know you've been chomping at the bit for these videos, so we got you. We got you. We're back. We're back. But yeah, so I don't know what Spider-Man could really do. I mean, to Skeletor, as far as like, because I'm going to be able to take any hit you can land.
Okay, so first question I gotta say is this in Eternia? Does Spider-Man come to Eternia, or does Skeletor come to 616? Because I feel like that takes a lot of it. Because I feel like if Spider-Man just shows up in Eternia, eventually Orko and them are gonna realize that conflict is happening.
No, this is just a 1v1 fight. No one's gonna interrupt this fight.
Okay, so even in Eternia, no evil Lyn.
No, because like what? If we go to 616, I can make that same argument.
Okay,
you know?
That the Punisher would just come up and
they're in New York City, so the defenders can just pop up, or
okay,
Matt Murdock,
It's an interesting battle. It really is. Because I feel like it eventually comes down to brains versus brawn. And I think I got the brains.
I don't know.
I mean, is there even a brain in that empty skull?
I didn't bring it up, but I have it written right down here that he has considerable scientific skills.
Considerable.
Yes. I mean...
Okay, well, I considered them.
I'm just saying I wrote it down as a note. I wasn't going to say anything, but you brought up the smart. So Skeletor isn't stupid.
But did he design his own webbing?
You know what? He didn't design his own webbing. But neither did Tobey Maguire.
Maybe through magic he did.
I think that's what it boils down to. Is it's going to boil down to the magic powers.
Well, you said illusions. We got Mysterio. We're used to not believing our eyes and ears and trusting in instinct and spider reflexes to actually work your way around to the actual villain.
Right.
So I think that we can work with.
I mean, I think as far as like who has the trump over one another is the big thing. It might come down to is speed, and Spider-Man's definitely just going to be faster, more agile. But I think where Skeletor can make up for that is in his teleportation skills, because he can just open up a portal and.
Yeah, but see, we got the spot too. Spider-Man knows how to fight the spot. Even with teleporting, even just parts of your body, he still is able to, sense it and.
But if he's anything,
reflect,
like Spider-Man in the MCU when he was teleporting, fighting Thanos, I think the weakness is going to be when he announces his hit right before he does it. Yeah. Skeletor is just going to grab him out of midair.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the MCU Spider-Man still has a lot to learn. He's not starting every fight the way Wolverine is. But maybe because of that, he'll change his way a little bit.
But I think where I'm going to argue against my own character for 1 second, because I think a big downside for Skeletor is he always relies on other people, his cronies and Evil Lyn and his magic, and a lot of that is he gets from being in Eternia. So unless the fight does take place in Eternia, then yeah, he's going to be at a significant disadvantage.
But I also feel like the webs are going to take a lot out of him too. Just of the sheer amount of webbing that he can use. Legs. I'm just on him to wear him down over time. I mean, it's going to take a long time.
Would the webbing be able to hold He-Man?
I mean, even if it's enough to just, annoy him and have him actually rip it off or break through it, or getting his foot stuck on the ground.
Right.
It's just it tires him after a while. It's still going to take a while, but I feel like it's just such a nuisance to deal with the web.
Okay.
So I don't see a real good defense that he has to the web, other than he will be able to break it eventually.
Right.
And eventually Spider-Man will run out, but how long? That's the kind of thing where I feel like it's going to give Spider-Man more time to catch his breath, and it's going to make Skeletor use more energy to keep breaking through all these webs to.
And what if Spider-Man runs out of webbing? Because he only brings a finite amount.
It's true.
And if he runs out, like you've seen in the comics and the show, he's really vulnerable.
Yeah, but he's still able to dodge and do all that. So, I mean, if it takes the time to just catch his breath between webbings, I think it's enough. I think Spider-Man, just because it's, breaking it all the way down to just the bare bones, this is a hero versus a villain.
Right.
Who's really going to win? The hero. Yeah. But, so I feel like he will persevere the day.
I wouldn't call Skeletor a villain. I think he's misunderstood.
Yeah, he's just another Thanos.
Yeah, he just wants to rule Eternia and kill He-Man. He's his really only threat.
But why is that the only threat?
Because He-Man won't let him rule Eternia.
Yeah.
We're not asking for much. We just want to rule a city.
Is Eternia only a city?
A kingdom.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, if you've watched or read the comics or watched like any of the cartoons or anything, like it's really just like Castle Grayskull and then Eternia, and then there's like nothing in between them on the planet. It's like just barren. So I really don't know what...
Snake... his is Snake Mountain, right?
Yeah, I really don't know what they're fighting over. Like, there's not much there.
Who gets Orko?
Although,
Yay.
with the new Funko Pops that have been coming out, I've learned that Skeletor has 1 billion minions that I've never seen or heard of before.
Yeah, well, I think Skeletor is a super cool design, too.
Yeah.
Like, I just really like the way he looks, and the voice not as much. But, and then, who played him in the movie? It was, Frank.
Oh, I love that movie. The Masters of the Universe movie.
Yeah.
Which didn't play well on He-Man or Skeletor because they neither really got to showcase any powers.
Yeah.
Skeletor used his staff like twice in the movie, but never like anything else. I don't even know if he stood up other than when he got thrown off into the pit.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think we just saw him sitting down the whole time. And He-Man stole a surfboard from Silver Surfer in that movie, and he rode that for a little while. For the most part, he was just shooting people with a gun. I was like, this is bizarre. I love it.
But it kind of felt like the Super Mario, right? Where it was like, it was just the name, but totally its own thing.
Yeah, I mean, we still got to see Dolph Lundgren in, like, basically a Speedo the whole movie. So if you were into that, you got that. But other than that, yeah, in character names and movie name only. That was really the only connection.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Evolution was even better.
No.
No, it wasn't.
No.
But,
in the end, I think it just...
How do I think Skeletor could win?
I just think his magic, like the freeze rays.
Okay, freeze rays are good. But yeah, I think, I guess it comes down to, like, how fast of a caster he can really be. Like, what's his cooldown between skills. Because, like, as you saw, like, in Doctor Strange, like, he was able to set up portals before he could react.
Yeah. I mean, most of my knowledge from He-Man is going to come from the animated series. All of them. And there really is no, like, cast time in between spells. You just... I'm sure if I were to go more in depth into the comics, there's probably something that in there that'll tell me if there's a downside, is there a limit to his power? I mean, I'm sure there is, because why else would he be trying to get the He-Man sword? Because that's the source of ultimate power in Eternia. Like, if there's no limit to your power, I guess you don't need that sword.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I'll concede it. I'll concede it to Spider-Man. Just because I don't have a ton of arguments. Where Spider-Man just has so much history, so much media, so much everything. Where Skeletor's got toys, comics, and 3 different series that lasted no more than a couple years apiece. So, and I don't have a lot to go on. I just feel like
is the rest of Skeletor's body still flesh?
I'm pretty sure it's an all skeleton.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
I know his fingers are, because we've seen him holding the staff, and it's still bones.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I always thought he had those, like, that blue...
Yeah, he has
blue body.
Like gauntlets or... Well, the blue body, if I'm not mistaken, then... I'm thinking of the He-Man clone. That's what I'm thinking of. He's all blue. What do they call him? Faker?
Okay. Yeah.
Or whatever his name is. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so in this picture, I'm not going to put it up to the camera. I'm just going to show him. Like, there's no way there's flesh on that. Those are just like gloves, like bone-covered gloves covering the bone, basically, is what it looks like.
Okay.
Although he does have a 6-pack, so... And nipples. He has nipples.
Yeah, so I guess Spider-Man could use the Mark of Cain to pull his abs off. If it came to that.
I'd go for the nipples. They're more sensitive.
Like...
I don't know. What do you guys think? Skeletor or Spider-Man? I'll give this one to the Hearse over here this time. But we'll be back.
Dang. Well, I mean, I think that's all for today. What do you think our next duel should be?
How about we do someone who has no code name? So the name they go by is just the name they go by.
That's interesting. Okay. We can do that. Who do you think will be in the next episode? Put it in the comments. Maybe I'll use it. Help us brainstorm ideas.
We'll see.
Yeah, and we'll see you next time. If you had fun, like, comment, subscribe. Pull a friend aside and be like, hey, check out this video. It might work out.
Yeah, be like, these guys know nothing about comic book characters. Or maybe you guys learned something.
I know more about Skeletor than both of them do. Obviously, Skeletor would win.
Yeah. Maybe Skeletor might make an appearance next time.
Whoa!
One of my favorite YouTubers was the unemployed Skeletor. I don't know if that guy's even still around. But his videos used to be hilarious.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
Look him up.
Okay, well, I guess I'll look him up too. But thanks, guys, for stopping by. I had a lot of fun. This is Jason.
Big Josh.
We'll see you again next time.
How long did that?